At the start, the superheroes imprisoned here instantly rioted, causing pandemonium in the jail. After, he stood up, removed his prison garb, cut the cables off the wall, and charged his body. In order to reclaim his ability to manipulate electricity, the jail guard in front of him was thrown into the air by an electric shock, and the man then used the electric current to damage the prison's electrical system. Let's now go through the story's backstory briefly. In a future world where time wars are common, some countries even utilized nuclear bombs, causing nuclear radiation sickness to kill billions of people. Nature has also been irreversibly harmed, with some of them acquiring a range of abilities by accident as a result of a radioactive genetic mutation. Superpowered individuals began to utilize their talents to loot banks and provoke other disturbances in order to pillage resources. In order to crush this army, the US government also established a gigantic jail to house these offenders. A bunch of superpowered people were raising havoc in an underground parking lot late one night when a powerful guy emerged, wielding a double pistol, and began a slaughter against them. This strongman's name is Jack, and while he does not have superpowers, he is a superpower's worst nightmare. Jack's daughter was killed by superpowers a few years ago. Thus, for the last several years, Jack has been slaying superpowered individuals to revenge his daughter. Jack is supposed to have slain around 40 superpowers by now. Of course, the gentleman in front of us tonight will not survive. Following the scuffle, the cops arrived and detained Jack. When confronted with the nasty Jack, the cops sent him straight to the super jail. And this is precisely what Jack desired. He desired to murder people here. Diaz was one of the captives transported with Jack. His power is to sense and share the emotions of others around him. Diaz did not harm anyone, but he was wrongfully accused of going to prison, which made him feel terribly suffocated. Superpowered inmates are placed in ankle shackles, which can inhibit their superpowers and avoid uprisings. The warden in front of him is the head of this jail. He is quite evil, adores money, and employs brutality against the captives below. The warden is about to retire and wants to scrounge some money from the convicts before he departs. The warden is after the criminal prisoner Bruce. Bruce's superpower is the ability to control anything with his thoughts, even the human brain, which he subsequently exploits to steal billions of dollars. A criminal like Bruce has little chance of earning parole as long as he transfers the money to himself, according to the jail warden. He pledged that the future warden would not search for trouble and would maintain the existing exceptional attention. Bruce did not agree right away, but he was mentally planning his escape. On the other hand, as soon as Jack arrived in the prison, he got into a fight with another inmate. The man's name is Jim, and Jack murdered his brother. They battled like foes against one another. In the lack of superpowers, Jim's talent is plainly inferior to Jack, as evidenced by a brutal pounding on the opposing side. Only when he was about to die did a jail guard intervene and send the two to the infirmary for treatment. The guards enjoyed this sight because it brought a sense of pleasure to their otherwise monotonous lives. Mary, the attractive doctor, turned her head and proceeded inside after inspecting them in the infirmary. She was about to start psychotherapy on Bruce when Jack walked in immediately behind him. He identified Bruce as a violent criminal as soon as he saw him. Jack became enraged and attempted to kill him. Jack strangled Mary next to him before attempting to strangle Bruce. Diaz, who was cleaning the infirmary at the time, heard the ruckus. He runs in and dives on him, keeping him firmly in place until the guards come. Diaz's acts won Bruce's admiration and devotion. As the absolute ruler of the convicts, Bruce inevitably had a retinue of minions who began to look after Diaz. At this moment, a fellow convict named Gordon approaches Diaz and attempts to make friends with him. We discovered through this talk that Gordon was here during the start of the Supermax jail. Gordon has been applying for parole for many years, but each time it has been denied. Indeed, it is not difficult to understand from here that the United States government's treatment of superpowered individuals has always been unjust. They simply do not have the option of release. Gordon was aware of this, but clung to hope that his next parole would be granted. Unfortunately, the outcome was the same. His parole application was refused once more. Gordon got disillusioned and despondent after that. Bruce is still working on his escape strategy. Bruce's aide delivered Gordon an iron item at noon that day. Gordon used it to free himself from his ankle restraints, then removed his prison garb, cut out the cable to recharge his body, restored his ability, and destroyed the jail's electrical system. Gordon has apparently joined Bruce's crew, becoming his right-hand man on his way out of the prison. Convicts acted as if they had received a signal when the electrical system was destroyed, and the jail began to riot. Of course, the damage to the electrical system has no bearing on the deployment of ankle shackles. This is just a maneuver by Bruce. This move's application will be covered later. Soon after, the warden directed the deputy warden to start the backup motor quickly in order to restore the electrical system. The next second, the irritable convicts were electrocuted by their ankle cuffs, and they were all taken back to prison. Gordon arrived at the infirmary this time. His face was filled with uncontrollable melancholy as he gazed out the window at the free world. When he saw that the disturbance had been put down, he concluded there was no way out. A female jail officer arrived just in time to punch Gordon down. Then she got the order to kill Gordon. The female jail guards are also intolerant, yet the command is difficult to refuse. She continued to hit Gordon in the face until there was no movement. As events progressed, the warden recognized that it was most likely that Bruce was planning to flee. He noticed Diaz going near to the other man and assumed there was a secret between them. So he approached him and attempted to strike a bargain. Unfortunately, Diaz knows nothing. Bruce merely instructed him to listen to his own instructions and be submissive to go out. When Diaz failed to provide any relevant information, the warden turned to Bruce. Warn him not to consider running away and that the best choice is to work honestly with himself. Bruce's attitude shifted and he accepted to work with the warden. Only time and a network which must be given by the warden are required for him to transmit money. When he heard this, he nonchalantly agreed to do so. The guards went down to the basement to inspect the wiring that Gordon had destroyed, then directed that repairs be made while the prison systems were entirely upgraded. Meanwhile, the super prison resumes normal operations, with just Bruce discreetly carrying out his intentions. In preparation for the jailbreak, he utilized the warden's tablet computer to write a virus software. Jack got a cross tattoo on his face and kept looking for trouble with Jim. But Jim is plainly hesitant to pick up on him for some reason. Time passes and the warden's retirement date arrives. He arrived at the workplace with champagne in hand, spotted Bruce, pulled out his tablet computer, and asked the other party to transfer money to his account. Bruce was quite helpful, picking up the tablet and beginning to transfer payments. The warden was overjoyed, but he had no idea that Bruce had planted his own malware software in the system while transferring money. The convicts' ankle shackles soon lose their impact as a result of the viral program, and they collectively acquire their abilities, resulting in an instant prison riot. Diaz was warned ahead of time and fled to the infirmary to hide, but he could still feel the suffering of the other escapees. He was able to relieve his discomfort thanks to the gorgeous doctor, who reassured him in time. The convicts who had recovered their abilities had entirely let themselves go and were in a state of chaos. I expected the last Superpower showdown to be fantastic, and I was sad to see the money begin to burn. The clash of superpowers has absolutely little spectacular effects, and there is nothing to witness. On the other hand, the jail warden received a call and discovered that there was commotion outside. Immediately ready to walk out to command, but discovered that Bruce had long shut the jail entrance. In the most essential section, the warden is still unaware that he is Bruce's escape plan. When the prison guards are no longer able to assist, contact the deputy warden to find a solution. According to the deputy warden, the entire system is powered by a generator, and restarting the generator will rejoin the ankle cuff system. When Alan, a jail guard, heard this, he dashed to the basement and prepared to restart the generator. A super-powered guy unexpectedly came up with him at that moment and struggled with Alan to prevent him from resuming. The struggle was unpleasant as the two sides fought back and forth. After all, a super-powered person is a super-powered person, and Alan is no match for him, so the struggle overwhelms him. Alan saw a pipe on the side at the vital moment. He broke it up and a massive volume of hot air spilled out, burning the super-powered guy to death. Meanwhile, the warden sat calm in front of Bruce, clutching his tablet and smiled at the amount in his account, having completed phoning for backup. Bruce unexpectedly snapped at this moment, revealing an ability that no one else is aware of: the interchange of brains. That's true. Bruce went through all of this to exchange brain awareness with the warden and begin a new existence. Bruce realizes he has no other way, only this one way out. Before Bruce had Gordon break the power system, he could plant a virus software into the system when he fixed it for the update. Gordon turned out to be cannon fodder all along. It was too late when the warden figured it all out. Bruce has utilized his superhuman abilities to carry out his plan to switch consciousness with the warden. Bruce then punched the warden out, and Alan's side managed to ignite the generator, restoring the shackle system. The warden then took command of the situation, electrocuting all of the detainees and transporting them back to their cells. Bruce's cell door was soon unlocked. Bruce strides out, then turns around and orders the guards to confine Bruce to a small dark chamber and never let him out again. The film concludes with Bruce regaining control of his life and Diaz and his aide being released from jail. After all, he had advised the two guys from the start that joining the riot was the only way to get a shot at release. Bruce borrowed the warden's body in this way to begin a new life. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching.